Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the Reptile Barn. I wanted to do an update today. We were asked, how come Little Ann hasn't been on the vlog recently? So here's Little Ann on the vlog. For those of you who don't know, Little Ann is our female Dominican red mountain boa, Chilobothus striatus. I actually don't love the common name Dominican red mountain boa. To me, they should be called like a Hispaniolan boa or something like that, but whatever. We have other vlogs on that topic. This is not that topic. Today, I mostly just want to do an update, and here she is looking beautiful, but there was a few things I wanted to mention specifically. So first off, they did breed. Her and Big Dan is our male. They did breed all winter long, really well. Great locks, high level of interest. They did great. So, assuming sperm was viable, everything went well, she should be pregnant right now. Towards the end of the breeding season, because they're winter breeders, right? Towards the end of the breeding season, she began to change a little bit. At the same time, she started to thicken up. Even though she wasn't being fed more, so that's a good sign, right? Her body started to change shape a little bit. It went from a real muscular lines and stuff in her, more like the male looks, to this real full, thick, rounded look, okay? And I don't believe that was due to change in diet, although the change we noted, she seemed to become more ravenous. She wanted more food. So eventually we did begin to give her a little bit more, but not that much. She just, every time we opened the cage, she wanted food. I mean, it's just been crazy. She would come charging across the cage looking for a rat every time we opened it up. Now, she's a great handling animal. We'll talk about that here in a minute. We just ended up, we already had bought, even though we never used it, a snake hook. We're not really snake hook people. We don't use it that much. However, I started taking it, and when I'd open her cage, I would put the rubberized end in. So it can't hurt her teeth if she were to bite it. She never did, but just to be cautious, And I would just show this to her, and she'd come right up to it and sniff it. No rat, and then I could pick her right up, calmed right down. So she's almost become like ball trained, if you will, kind of by accident, just because I didn't want to reach my hand in when she's acting that hungry, right? But now it's just every time I just put that right in her face, she sniffs it. There's no rat, and I never ever get rat smell on this because that would kind of defeat the purpose, right? And it's been great. I never use the pointy end, and it's fine. I'm not trying to knock on people that do. I don't really like snake hooks that much. I'm not very wieldy with them, but it's worked great for me. And I started doing that with the indigos because they have really high food response. So there's my little tip of the day. Get something. It doesn't have to be a snake hook. It's just something to indicate to your snake it's not feeding time. And then usually, second they realize there's no food, you can just gently scoop them up and you're good to go, right? The other nice use we have found for the snake hook is mixing Reptile. That's actually what we mostly use it for. Just dig it down in there once the Reptile is wet and twist it around and stir things up. It works great. You can chop at it. Anyway, there's my little plug. There's no snake hook people paying me, unfortunately. I wish they would. But we like it. It's a cool tool. But the other thing that I actually wanted to discuss about this species is I've always wondered, really since the beginning when we first got our pair, why aren't they more popular? I don't get it. It seems to me that there's just really a few common factors in what makes a particular species of snake really popular in the pet trade. And they check most of the boxes. So I just didn't get it. The only thing that they really lack strongly is they don't have Mendelian morphs. So you're not going to have Dominican red mountain boas with recessive or dominant traits, right? That you can breed specifically for those things, and you're going to get them in, 50% this and 25% that. They don't have any of that, right? Although there's one albino in captivity currently, and holy moly, that thing is insanely beautiful. If the reptile barn ever goes broke, it may be because we accidentally bought one, if it proves genetic, but it's really beautiful.
Accidentally.
Liz will come home one day and be like, hey, how come the car's gone? Did you sell the car? I had to. Anyway, but no. So other than the morphs, right? You know, ball pythons, corn snakes, boas, those kinds of things that are always going to be super popular because people love the morphs, including us. All the other factors that make a snake a popular pet, these guys have it. They are extremely handleable. As long as you work with them, just like any snake, totally docile. They don't bite. I mean, they can, of course, if you scare them or hurt them or something, but not a bitey species. They huff and stuff like some snakes do, but it's not an aggression thing at all. They can musk like lots of snakes can, but again, you don't really get musked if it's a snake that you handle right, if it's your pet, right, that knows you and trusts you. The price range is super reasonable. Even for a nice red individual like this, you can get a baby for $200 or $300 usually. They are incredibly beautiful. These reds, they have almost like an orange phase. There's a silvery kind of phase. There's ones they call pastels. So even though they don't have the traditional morphs that are, you know, Mendelian, they still have all sorts of different looks to them. They have ones with huge saddles that, you know, it looks more like a spread out pattern. There's ones with smaller saddles, so it looks more busy. Really, really cool variation just within the species naturally, right? They are bred in captivity, so you don't have to get wild caught. So you can find people that are breeding these guys and get a nice, healthy, captive bred baby. The feed response is way better than like a ball python, you know? Other than adults, usually adult males in the winter time, which almost all pythons and boas, you're going to have a lot of adult males that go off food in the wintertime. But other than that, they don't just randomly go on food strikes like a ball python does, right? It's really nice to have a reliable eater. The husbandry isn't terribly difficult. A little bit boosted humidity like a lot of these, you know, tropical or subtropical species need. They're semi-arboreal, so they need more height. You don't want to keep them in a rack system, certainly, but they don't need more height than the other arboreal pythons and boas. So I just don't get it, you know? Amazon tree boas, emerald tree boas, green tree pythons, super popular in the trade. Even, you know, carpet pythons, kind of another long but more slender, bigger than these guys, but not, you know, terribly huge snake. Super, super popular. But for some reason, the Dominican red mountain boas just haven't taken off. They're not super well known. I don't know if it's a timing thing, like they just haven't been around long enough. Although I'm pretty sure they've been around since at least the 80s, or maybe they just weren't marketed very well. I don't know what it is. Honestly, I don't know what it is. But I feel like it's a little strange that they're not more popular. And that's totally fine. It's a little weird to me, and I wish I knew why, because I think that this is a species that a lot of people who are like, I don't want a ball python, everyone has a ball python. Well, if you're looking for something a little more unique, but that still has kind of all the lovable things about a ball python, you know, a good temperament and easy to keep, and you can get them for inexpensive and all those good things, give these guys a try. They're awesome. There is a Facebook group for Chilobothris, which is the genus that these belong to, and you can find people producing litters of these right now. In fact, so I guess to close the video, we did breed them all winter long. I don't know if she's pregnant or not. She looks like she's fattening up. I mean, look at her belly right there. It's almost lumpy, you know? So I have high hopes. I was planning to take her to the vet. We have a really excellent exotics vet that we work with. But right now, because of the pandemic, he's really only taking like medical emergencies. You know, he's prioritizing things that are really important. Since she's not sick or anything, you know, he was like, well, my regular appointments are scheduled out till like the end of August. So hopefully by the end of August, she will have just had her babies, and then there's no point. I was just gonna go in and have him do an ultrasound because we don't have an ultrasound. I figured to sate my curiosity, it was worth the $80 or whatever. But oh well. We'll just have to keep wondering, and hopefully here tomorrow or in the next month or two or whatever it takes, we'll come in and there will be a bunch of little baby snakes crawling around in her cage, and I will just flip a lid. This would be, other than maybe the blue tree monitors, this would be like my most anticipated babies of the year. But I have no idea because it's not eggs. I don't get to see eggs and be like, oh, okay, well then they'll hatch in X number of days. It's just live babies will come popping out or they won't. But man, I would be ecstatic if we got some babies from these. Again, they're not super expensive. It's not, as far as a business thing goes, it's not nearly as profitable as some of the more expensive ball python clutches we could get. But just the excitement of the species that I've now had for years and haven't been able to produce yet, to get some live babies too. I'll be very happy on that day. Someday it'll happen, whether it's this summer or not, I don't know. But anyway, I hope you're all staying safe. Those of you who've been asking about the Dominicans, here's little Ann. I'm sorry I didn't show Big Dan, but it's really hard to handle two long, curious snakes at the same time. But next time we show them, I'll pull him out instead, okay? He bred her very, very well all winter long. And he's also, for those of you who haven't seen before any of the other videos with these guys, he is another red face, okay? He seems to be, to me, a little bit more orange and smaller saddles, but really nice red colors. So anyway, that's all for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep your fingers crossed for some baby Dominicans. And until next time, we're the Reptile Barn. Yeah.